Morning guys, so today is the second leg of my art restorers trip to Paris, and we are off to Musée d'Orsay. Now it's the same deal as yesterday. Hopefully I'll be able to get you inside and show you something, but if not I might have to leave you outside, so we'll see. So yeah, off to Musée d'Orsay.
The Musée d'Orsay covers a 66-year period from the Second Republic to the First World War. It's a converted train station. It houses over 3,650 paintings. 1,100 of these are Impressionist or Post-Impressionist, and around 300 are Impressionist paintings. So this museum fills the gap between like the Louvre and the Centre Pompidou. It sits around there in the middle, and it's just got a real exciting, vibrant collection of paintings. So we had a quick coffee. I met up with the rest of the British restorers, and then we headed over to the staff entrance, and we went through security. Okay guys, we've just passed security now, and I think this is as far as I'm going to be able to take it. I've got my official badge on, so yeah, we're going to go behind these doors here then, and then we'll be into the restoration department. Okay, see you shortly. Once we'd gone through security, we had a fabulous introduction to the museum by the head curator, and then once she told us about the museum and how many paintings they had and the full history of the renovation from the train station in the 1970s, we were then led down a series of corridors into the depths of the museum. So after that great introduction from the head curator, we were led down a series of corridors, and we weaved and went downstairs and went past labs and all sorts of different little studios, and we came to this big holding area, it felt like, where all the racks of paintings were. So behind this area was these massive vertical pull-out racks, and this was the area where they do all the condition reports. There's an area at the back full of packing materials and foam for all the paintings that were going or coming, and then this was a new arrival that had just landed. So the first area that we were led to was where they do all the condition reports. So we travelled through the corridors, this wonderful big white bench with this luminaire over the top. There's a computer in the corner, and this is where they do all the condition reports for the paintings coming into the museum and going out. So whenever they go on loan, they come to this area and they're assessed and they're given a pass. So they do around 150 exams each year, produce the condition report, and if the painting receives a red dot or is on the red list, it means it doesn't travel. So a lot of the work is assessing paintings coming in, see what needs to be done, and then taking them to the right department or doing the correct amount of work that they need. But what struck me was the way the paintings were all fitted up. There was these massive racks all the way through this section, big pull-out racks, and they were all attached, and they all had plexiglass on the back to protect the back of the paintings. All the fixtures and fittings were brass. The paintings had all these foam spacers and foam buffers in, and then they build a case around the frame to allow them to glaze them as well. So they're going through a massive glazing process as well at the moment to protect the paintings. Then we were taken down further corridors, and we went past all the crated paintings. So in all these fabulous crates were paintings that were going on loan, had come back from loan, and were going on display somewhere else. And then we were led up these stairs to this mezzanine area. So this floor was a restoration conservation studio where practical treatments were happening. So there was paintings on benches, paintings on easels, painting on mini racks. And then this bottom area here, this was just vast. I could not believe it. These were ginormous racks holding paintings that were on wheels that would pull out. And some of these paintings must have been at least, like I say, 25 or 30 foot high. They were absolutely ginormous. And this was like a whole landing loading area. So just the scale of some of this work. There was paintings down here crated up, ready to be collected. It was just amazing. One of the other big takeaways was the amount of technical analysis that the museums have got at their fingertips. They can send paintings away to be x-rayed. They have their own x-ray departments. They're using infrared technology. They're using spectrum analysis. They can study the paint pigments, and that's a lot of the stuff that I don't have at my command as an independent private restorer. But then once they've done all that, it's the practical side of things, which is very similar to my restoration practice. We were then led through another series of corridors and ended up in the mezzanine practical restoration area, and this is where they were working on this large painting. It was probably about 3 meters by 1 meter 40 or 50. It was huge, and they talked us through the whole process of delining and relining and all the materials that they'd used during this process, which was great. So they went through the whole process of consolidation and impregnation, and they use a lot of traditional techniques as well. So there was lots of talk around wheat starch paste, which was nice to hear, and this is something I want to do more of in my practice as well. So there's lots of discussion around recipes for glues and what kind of materials they were using as well. So, and funnily for this painting, they weren't using any heat, they were just using the impregnation of the glue. So that was interesting as well. So I got loads of tips and things that was just great to see. Like even on this large painting here, all the edges were taped, but they were all staples. So the Louvre was using staples to staple the lining fabric all the way around, and then had this gum tape on just to protect the edges, which is how I was taught to do it back in the day as well. We had another area that was nearby where they had another bench on there, and they'd been working on a small impressionist oil painting that was a pointillist painting, a portrait. So they were talking about all the different methods they use for testing this, for clean and revarnishing as well. So there was lots of talks about the different consolidants. And this painting was interesting because there was metals in the paint, and they were talking about how they removed those latent metals using different techniques. So that was really interesting. And then we were taken to a large gallery section where they talked about the funeral, which is one of the largest paintings that they've worked on in the Musée d'Orsay and the whole restoration process. So this painting is 7 meters by 3.15 meters, absolutely enormous. And they had a team. So this again was tendered out using the French process, and a company from, I think they were from Italy, came over. They were successful in the bid, and this Italian company was taking the restoration of this painting, and they talked us through their procedures, how they were going to stretch it and reline it. I think they were going to strip line this painting as well. And they had all these elastics. They were showing this method using elastics and a loom frame as well. So just, yeah, really, really interesting, and it was just great to see. And then after that, we were already given our pass, our public pass. But this allowed me to go and see the Singer Sargent exhibition, which was absolutely amazing. Now, this was the room for me. This room held all of Sargent's portraits, and they were absolutely outstanding. The the way he's handled this paint, the directness, the colours, the tones, the sitters, the poses, everything about it was just screaming absolute genius to me. He became famous for his society portraits. The good and the great wanted him to paint for him, but his style was modern, it was exciting, it was vibrant. It stepped away from traditional portraiture while still nodding to it. They could be Reynolds faces, but that format is so informal. Sargent was in demand. He was painting the great and the good, the nouveau riche. This portrait, imagine going for a family portrait of your children and then this is what gets presented to you. Look at that vase and the light, the composition, everything about it is just absolutely fantastic. Again, just absolute genius. This famous painting was just being photobombed all the time I was there. I kept trying to get to it, but I kept getting pushed back. But yeah, again, absolutely amazing picture. The light, the skin tones, the composition, everything about it is just absolutely outstanding. So yeah, you can see here everyone was grabbing that photograph as well, and I was just trying to work my way closer. So this portrait of Madame X is one of Sargent's most famous pieces. It was a bit scandalous at the time. It was quite over-sexualized and provocative, but it's been termed the Mona Lisa of American painting, and I can see why. It's got mystery, it's got allure, it's got everything going for it. But so many of Sargent's portraits just have that fabulous decadent appeal to me. I mean, look at the dress on this lady here. Absolutely stunning. It's so rich, but yet he's so loose with his paint. That's what really excites me about his work. He's not afraid to apply that paint quite liberally. If you think about what was going on in painting at that time, it was so exciting. Here we've got a very oriental influence on that dress, and again the colours just absolutely punch you in the face. I could have spent all day in this gallery alone, just walking around. It was just such a treat, and unexpected as well. And there's the man himself with that famous portrait. Well guys, that was a treat, wasn't it? His painting, absolutely amazing, so vibrant, so much colour in there, just wonderful. And this exhibition is so busy, there's so many people here, it's astounding. But yeah, some fabulous pictures. I'm just going to go and have a look at these portraits as well. And over here there's a fabulous study of the famous picture, so let me show you this. I love seeing study paintings or unfinished paintings like this. You get a real insight into what the artist was thinking. And if you notice here on her right shoulder, the strap is missing from the dress, and this caused quite a lot of scandal at the time. And then when you look at the finished version later on, he paints this back in. But the colours in this study are just stunning. That face, everything about it. I bid on a painting that was unfinished a few years ago and missed it, and I do regret it to this day because it would have been a fabulous restoration. But here you can see now in that finished portrait, she's got that strap on, and that made it a little bit more decent for the public to digest. You can probably tell from my excitement that that John Singer Sargent exhibition was just fantastic. If you like painting and you get a chance to see a body of his work, he was just joyous. He was absolutely joyous. He was so loose, the colours were so vibrant, and you know I like a portrait. Those portraits were amazing, and I was just walking through that whole section and just thinking how wonderful it was. And then I was thinking of the excitement of that conservation team, because all of those paintings will have been received into the museum, they'll have reported on them, they'll have opened them up, and they'll have been intimate with them. And when they're on exhibition, there's lots of people around you, and you can't quite have that solo enjoyment of a painting. Does that sound wrong? But they will have been able to get intimate with some of those paintings and hold them and see them. And for me, it made me want to paint again. That's how excited I felt after seeing that exhibition. I just wanted to get the paints out and just paint, because they were just fabulous. It was absolutely fabulous. So the Musée d'Orsay was absolutely fantastic. I wish I had more time there to explore. We had another visit booked in to a private restoration studio, which again was just fascinating. They were making their own restoration paints. They had workshops on, photography workshops. It was just incredible. And then we had another drinks with the British contingent and just discussed what we'd seen, and it was just a really good trip. I hope you can see how excited I am to have been there and taken you along with me. If you want to stick around, I have got some parts of Paris that I would like to share with you. These are the things that inspire me when I go to Paris. So yeah, if you want to stick around, I will show you a little bit more of my time in Paris.
Right guys, I've just come out of the Musée d'Orsay there. We had a fabulous tour of the restoration department. It was just brilliant. I saw so many good things down there, and then I got to see the Sargent exhibition. It was just fabulous. I mean, Sargent's just an amazing painter anyway, but that was great. So it's Friday evening now. We're going to meet my family who are here too, and we're going to go and have something to eat. And I will try and show you some more of Paris while I'm here. So hope you enjoyed that little look around the Sargent exhibition on the Musée d'Orsay, and I will see what else we can see while I'm here.